Good evening, everyone. This is Keith Johnson, CPA with the Business Buzz for the day after Christmas, Thursday, December 26th, 2024. Hope your Christmas went well. Mine did. It was all things considered. I wish I was out of town, but as you know, my shoulder had other ideas. But I still had a nice long talk with mom, and also, I did get some gifts and was able to go to church and all that. So it was actually pretty good, pretty fair Christmas. And so I hope yours was good too. And now we're kind of in the real quiet week, which is the week between Christmas and New Year's. Not a lot happens in the business world. It's there's going to be some markets will be open today, tomorrow, and then Monday and Tuesday, and then it's off Wednesday. So it's going to be pretty quiet news, but we still do have some news talking about. Now, first things first, Santa Claus did go around by NORAD. As you know, this past on Christmas Eve and early Christmas Day, and turned out that over 7 billion gifts were distributed to kids throughout the world. And Santa Claus did his trip, no problems at all. Rudolph and the other 8 reindeer held up just fine through the weather. So now, as we like to say in Florida, Santa's now coming down to Florida for a week of vacation to get away from Mrs. Claus and the reindeer, and just he's sick and tired of cold weather too. So the jokes down here are like, oh, we saw him down in Fort Lauderdale. Where I'm in Jacksonville, we're a little far north for Santa to make an extra visit. But down in Fort Lauderdale and Miami, apparently the scuttlebutt says those sightings are kind of common. Anyway, NORAD actually started tracking Santa. I didn't know this till a few years ago, but NORAD started tracking Santa in 1956. Now, what happened back then was a little child out in Colorado actually called NORAD. Now, this was back in those days where you didn't have 18 layers of security and everything was, shut down tight. The kid just happened to get through and said, you guys, track bombers at the time. And this was before missiles. And here's Christmas. She kept me company during, she participated in the Santa Watch too. She was, let me move here. Yeah, she participated in the Santa Watch. I think she came up short. But anyway, NORAD, so there was a Air Force cadet, low ranking person who manned, and he or she kind of played along with the little child and said, well, we're tracking Santa throughout the world, and he's over Greenland and he's flying to Europe and all that. And it stuck. And over the years, it's grown and grown. It was around when I was a kid, and, I don't remember mom and dad telling me about that. But that's how this legend of Santa was born. And so it's always good to have a little fun this time of year. Now, also on a semi-related note, H&R Block just came out with with Santa Claus's first return. Apparently, not even Santa Claus is exempt from paying his taxes to the IRS. So H&R Block prepared his taxes, and he did claim as income of approximately the fair market value of 6 million cookies, and 2 million gallons of milk, and various other things that people left out for him. So he had to claim all that as income, because that's, the IRS says anything of value that you get in your job, you got to report. So he reported, 6 million cookies. However, he was able to deduct, the mileage of about 6 million miles flown around the world. Of course, he gets to deduct the feed for his reindeer and, his upkeep on his sleigh. And of course, he gets to pay the elves, whatever, in cookies and milk and candy canes, whatever he pays. He also got to deduct that. So according to H&R Block, Santa did have a nice refund. And it just goes to show that nobody is exempt from the tax ban, which really, for us, will kick in just about a month. So, we're kind of in the calm before the storm, as it were. Now, the IRS did come out today, or the Wall Street Journal, rather. And this was another thing about the continuing resolution mess that went through last week. So what happened was basically the IRS got shorted $20 billion with a B in funding for this next go around. Apparently, it was the continuing resolution was supposed to continue funding things, but the IRS last year had, during the debt ceiling crisis, if you recall, the Republicans and Democrats were blocking the debt ceiling, and it turned out that there was a deal made so that 20 billion of the $80 billion that was given to the IRS for funding as part of the Relief Act. Relief Acts back a couple of years ago, they clawed back 20 billion of that, so it's 60 billion now. Well, apparently the IRS, when Congress did the continuing resolution, there's Chrissy, and they failed to include the IRS as far as the funding goes, so the IRS doesn't get that 20 billion back, at least for the time being. They will get the funding that they would normally have, but they didn't. They wouldn't get that. Now, the problem with that is that, to be honest, from my viewpoint, is okay. My job is to represent the client as best I can in front of the IRS. I do that through getting a power of attorney. I send it to them, and the client signs it, and I can represent the IRS in their behalf. That's no problem. The problem is that they take 2 to 3 hours to get a hold of during the 2023 tax year. So this would be up until October for most people. Of course, with us, it's a never-ending tax year because of extensions due to hurricanes. But apparently, the average wait time had dropped allegedly to a few minutes. But with that, of course, we don't see it. But what happened was, now the IRS is estimating that it will take an average of 28 minutes. Shoot, yeah, I'd take 28 minutes in a heart on every day and twice on Sunday. Thank you. Yeah, because usually this is how it goes. Okay, I call the IRS, and there's a special number for CPAs, attorneys, and enrolled agents. We're given a code, and we have to give it. It's called the tax practitioner priority line. Okay, so we call them. Well, first it takes 20 times to just get in the queue. I mean, you call bounces, and they say, "We're sorry, we can't help you, because of due to high call volume." So you keep calling and calling and calling. Then it answers, the phone answers, and then you hit, and then you're placed in queue. But that queue usually is, unless you get it very early in the day, is at least an hour. Now, you can wait for 2 hours. At the 2 hour mark, system clears you. They cut you off and you go back to square one. Also, even if they do pick up after an hour and 55 minutes, and this has happened to me several times, they will they'll start to help me and they'll say, "Oh, I need to put you on hold," and you know, pick up the facts, and then the phone just dies. The call drops, and I'm like, yeah, I try to be a good person, but that'll get some four-letter words out of me. So we don't want that. So to be honest, that kind of stuff hurts my ability to represent clients. I can't represent you as the client effectively and efficiently if I have trouble getting through. And it's not just me. AICPA, most CPA state CPA societies have complained, but with the inability to get that 20 billion back, then that means that looks like we'll still have cruddy service from the IRS. Markets were mixed today. Very little activity, very little movement. The three major indices all moved by less than 30 points. So, and you could probably expect that all week until next Friday. So, anyway, so that'll be it for today, and just hope y'all take care. I will be here tomorrow, and see what news I can dig up. And this is Keith Johnson with the Business Buzz. Please subscribe or like us so that we can build this site. Oh, by the way, one of my Christmas gifts is ta-da, a podcasting board and microphone. So now I got that from my birth mom. So I'm going to figure out how it works, and then sometime in the start of the new year, we're going to make this bad boy run and definitely improve the quality of the podcast instead of me just sitting here in front of my computer. Anyway, take care. Have a good return season, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.